Hi, how have you been? As we've seen on the show before, even since its earliest days, rhetoric has faced the enduring criticism that it should be avoided because some people have used it to do harm. But we've also seen plenty of voices from history who acknowledge that misusing rhetoric is possible, but that's no reason to avoid it entirely, whether you want to go with Quintilian's searingly sarcastic response that we should also avoid food then because it sometimes makes people sick, or Aristotle's more measured argument that learning rhetoric is a reasonable defense against its misuse. And of course, this show is all about using rhetoric to improve our writing and communication, so we spend a lot more time talking about its value than its potential harms. But the reality is that there are people out there who are eager to use rhetorical tools to mislead, manipulate, or deceive, and we've already gone on an interplanetary journey to look at ways bad actors might misuse emotion and even facts and logic to distort the truth and misdirect their audiences. Which means that today we'll be taking a look at the dark side of ethos, or a person's trustworthiness or credibility. And I'm excited to begin with—
Oh, good, you're here.
Yeah, and you've been here too, though, right?
I guess technically. Listen, bud, I've got a big job for you today. Kaputco R&D has cooked up something huge, and they wanted you to feel included. So they thought they'd run the newest ad past you and see what you think.
Oh wow, okay, sure, let's take a look. An unmatched leader in industrial innovation, Kaputco International is the name competent professionals trust when it comes to quality. And that's why we're proud to share the latest from Kaputco International's experimental brilliance division, the multidimensional Heimer. Combining the latest in hammer design with cutting-edge alchemical intelligence technology, the Heimer is sure to revolutionize all your construction projects. Traditional hammers are hampered by severe limitations, requiring individual builders to drive each individual nail by hand using their human strength and hard-won experience and know-how. Of course, that puts traditional hammering out of reach for so many who never had access to advanced hammering training or just couldn't have been bothered. And that's to say nothing of the risk of inadvertently hammering your thumb. That's where Kaputco's multidimensional Heimer comes in. A tool just like any other, the Heimer effectively replaces all other tools, and possibly even the people who use them, through its revolutionary capabilities. Of course, what good is a hammer that doesn't drive nails? Unlike cumbersome and conventional hammers, though, the Heimer autonomously drives nails using cutting-edge image generation technology to accurately identify and drive nails of all varieties, but especially the most common and least useful ones. Not only that, the Heimer will capably and confidently let you know when it's finished the job, chirpily reporting that all the nails in your building are nailed in. And at Kaputco International, we're proud to point out that studies show that the Heimer has a success rate of up to 80%, and in some narrowly controlled tests, is even able to out-hammer seasoned PhD-level builders. What's that other 20%? We're so glad you asked. Some world-renowned linguists have noted that the Heimer's proclivity for wandering far away from its fundamental hammering task portends its ultimate potential to lay waste to economies, societies, and even entire planetary systems. And we just want to hammer that home, if you'll excuse the pun. The Heimer is such a powerful and promising technology that if misused, it could literally destroy everything. That's just how smart and innovative we are. So don't be a Luddite. You've embraced Wi-Fi printing, voice-enabled digital assistants, automated resume screening tools, and even mobile games that harvest a ton of data. So it seems weird to draw a line in the sand about the greatest development in hammer technology since the invention of the ball peen. All the smartest and most forward-thinking people are putting all their time, money, and personality into developing and producing more and more Heimers, and you should too. So don't miss out. Invest in Kaputco International's multidimensional Heimer and do your part to democratize hammering today. Wow, Bud, that's really something.
I know, right? Pretty impressive tech.
Yeah, that's one way to put it. Are you sure you want to run that ad, though?
Well, why not? It's a great ad for a great product.
Yeah, I just, some people might misunderstand your intent and think you're, manipulating people.
Okay, fine. If you're such an expert, why don't you name 4 problems you have with it?
Okay, well, number one, I thought it was interesting that you decided to cite world-renowned linguists about the world-ending potential that your little AI-powered hammer has.
I don't understand.
Well, it's just that, why would a linguist be the expert on autonomous hammers? Yeah, you're citing experts, but experts in the wrong thing, so to speak. A lot of the time, when people are trying to boost their credibility or their ethos, they cite authorities, and that makes sense. It's a good move, but you should be skeptical of mismatched authority, right? It could make sense to listen to a linguist's opinion on a language learning tool or an athlete's take on high-performance shoes, but what does that athlete really know about financial investments? Or what does that linguist really know about AI-powered hammers? It's reasonable to trust experts, and it's good rhetorical practice to cite experts. But you have to watch out for experts talking outside of their specialty, which is why quantum computing with Andrew is probably not going to happen.
Well, fine, so that's one thing, but it's not four. I think the ad is okay.
Hang on, before we get too deep into this, let's just make sure we understand what I really mean by ethos.
Fine, wake me up when you're done.
So when we're talking about ethos, we're usually drawing on the idea from Aristotle's Rhetoric that we're more likely to be persuaded by people who can demonstrate that they have a good character. In fact, Aristotle suggests that a person's character might be the most effective persuasive tool they have. Just think about it. If a person gives a speech and they can show you in that speech that they are a good, ethical, upstanding person, then it makes a lot of sense to trust them and to go along with what they're advocating. They have good values, and you can see that they're pursuing what's best. And because of the easy, reasonable leap from a good character to trustworthiness, we now often think of ethos as being linked to a person's credibility or trustworthiness. If you encounter the term in school, you'll probably see it related to their authority rather than their character. An argument with a lot of ethos is an argument with a lot of authority on the subject. But whether it comes in the form of authority or character, the basic focus on trust remains consistent. But bad actors are obviously not good people, so they have to fool you into thinking they're trustworthy when they in fact aren't. And this kind of manipulative reference to misplaced experts is one way of doing it. They're hoping that you're not listening too carefully and that you'll be impressed by a big name and just accept what they have to say, even though the expert that they've cited isn't actually an expert on the matter at hand. In a similar way, you might hear people refer vaguely to studies or research that has been done. You know, they did a study that proved I'm right, but they who? Saying that research shows something without actually providing a direct citation or reference is a pretty suspicious thing to do. Even if there is research out there, your refusal to actually cite it gives me a lot of room to think you're making things up. You want me to trust you, but I just don't. Maybe you'll hear someone make an unsubstantiated claim, not about their sources, but about how great and trustworthy they are. This ad claims that Kaputco is the brand competent professionals trust, but it doesn't do anything to back that up. Instead, it just asks us to accept that Kaputco is the best brand out there, and it might be, but without evidence, it's hard to see why we should believe it. And if we wanted to take Aristotle's narrow approach to ethos, your reputation just doesn't count. Only what you show the audience in a speech counts. It's not enough for people to know generally that you're a good person or company to be persuasive. You have to show them in the speech that you have a good, trustworthy character, and I mean show them, not just assert it. Oh, but how about that part where you urge the potential customer not to be a Luddite? That's kind of a wild move. See, you're setting yourself up as an authority on the matter. You're setting yourself apart from an undesirable group of people, the Luddites, and telling your audience to make a choice. Are they going to align themselves with you and your progressive vision of AI-powered hammering utopias, or are they going to align themselves with those disgusting Luddites? Clearly, Kaputco has the better character. But again, they're not really showing us why. They're asking consumers to trust them without giving them real reasons to trust them. You're a good company that is opposed to bad Luddites, and we know it because you said so? Forgive me if your corporate just trust me bro isn't going to do it for me.
Okay, fine. You could find 4 problems. I guess we'll send it back to marketing.
Yeah, part of me wonders if you're even really dedicated to improving the noble art of hammering nails at all, but assuming you are, that ad gives a viewer a lot of room to think that Kaputco is not as trustworthy and authoritative as they want to appear. Referencing misplaced experts in unidentified studies, asserting your own trustworthiness in an unsubstantiated way, and setting up a false or misleading comparison between your good character and some other group's bad character, these are all common ways that manipulators might use to make themselves seem more authoritative and credible than they really are. Oh, but there are others too. For example, I've told you all before that I once got a bad grade on a paper in a persuasive writing class because my teacher thought my argument lacked substance, and that critics would be able to accuse me of linguistic prestidigitation. Now, let's be real. I was not trying to be manipulative. I was honestly just trying to do the things that my teachers had praised me for in the past. But the fact is that people do use so-called impressive vocabulary all the time to make it sound like they know more than they really do. Even someone's linguistic style can be a tool of false ethos. It's a way of making yourself look like a bigger deal than you really are. And my teacher at the time pointed out that I was running that risk and then pushed me to make sure that the substance of my arguments and the style of my writing lined up more harmoniously.
So it's not working, I get it. There's no need to belabor the point. Actually, I hear this creator economy is what all the mortals are doing these days. Maybe we should go with something like that instead of traditional advertising. Kaputco doesn't have to be the biggest and most important company, although it is. It could also just be the coolest.
Well, that's actually a good point. The most common way to think of ethos is in terms of credibility and authority. But there's another major flavor of ethos that I think gets less attention, and I like to call it the ethos of solidarity. So while you can tell someone to trust you because you're the authority on the issue, you can also tell them to trust you because you're just like them. They'll trust you not because you're an expert, but because you're the kind of person they want to hang out with. This is trusting someone less because they know their stuff, and more because they clearly have your best interest at heart. And for a lot of people, that can be even more persuasive than the ethos of authority. Sure, so-and-so is an expert in whatever, but they don't really know what it's like. Now, such and such, on the other hand, they may not have a fancy degree, but they've had a life just like mine, and they've figured it out. They meet me where I am, and I trust that. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Everything we're talking about today is a manipulative and deceptive counterfeit of stuff that legitimate people do all the time. Good and responsible rhetoric will cite research and do everything it can to show that its creator is trustworthy, but it will also have the substance to back it up. And there's nothing wrong with someone using the strategies we're talking about to build genuine solidarity and mutual understanding. So as always, don't misunderstand and think that anyone who tries to meet you where you are and establish a relationship of trust is just out to get you. You always want to be mindful of context, motives, and other factors in a situation that can help you to decide whether someone is on the level or not. The point today is to show you that there are dangerous manipulative strategies that can look an awful lot like legitimate rhetorical practice. So you want to be careful, but also not just assume that everyone is manipulating you all the time. Anyway, it can be relatively easy to spot empty authority and move on. Fake solidarity can be trickier though, and it can be a lot more off-putting when you uncover it. Exaggerate your authority and you're a windbag. Exaggerate or falsify your solidarity and you're a snake. For example, I've shared an experience before that I had in college. A guy who lived in the same apartment building as me invited me to hang out on a weekend, and if you've ever been a college student, you might know the feeling of struggling to find your social footing and feeling like you have to put yourself out there and make friends and all that other garbage. Anyway, I decided to go. We hung out, played a round of pool, talked about whatever, and I was saying to myself, wow, check me out having a friend. And then, somehow before I even knew what was happening, he had made a phone call and handed the phone to me. And then I was talking to a guy the next level up from my supposed friend in some multi-level marketing scheme, and I was explaining to him why I was just going to focus on my classes and not on trying to sell whatever to whomever. Has that ever happened to you? There's something uniquely distasteful about those kinds of recruiting attempts, and it comes down to a failure of solidarity ethos. You think you've made a new friend, and then pow, turns out you were just an economic opportunity. Or you are friends, and that friendship becomes a business opportunity instead of just a friendship. It doesn't just feel like someone exaggerating how many clinical studies say their product is good. It feels like a betrayal. Someone masquerades as someone with good social character, someone you might trust in a more personal way, and then the exploitation is made clear. It's the misuse of ethos for nefarious purposes. Or you know how sometimes you'll get junk mail from a company that's printed in a font that looks kind of like handwriting? Why do they do that? Probably to make their marketing copy look more like a personal note. It wasn't mass-produced. It was handwritten just for you. That's ethos at work, but it's not making the company look like a leader in their industry. It's making them look like your friend. And listen, if there's anything that's been a crash course in fake solidarity ethos, it's been my life online. All the time I get emails from, well, let's be honest, usually AI companies that want me to promote their cutting-edge writing tools on the show, and they're always written in such a ludicrous way. Hey dude, totally dig the content. You've got such a good vibe, and we'd love to collaborate on a promotion for our latest product, Slopinator.ai. The way you talk about science research and fashion is so inspiring. It would be a seriously good fit, and we're totally down. Like, bro, clearly you have not seen the show. Clearly you don't know what we actually talk about. Clearly you have misunderstood my vibe to be much cooler than it actually is. And clearly you have missed the part where your AI-powered, AI-generated text humanizing tool is both fundamentally non-functional and has no real application besides deception. So, no, I'm not especially interested in a cute little collab. Again, we have someone approaching their own financial interest in an overfamiliar way. They have the appearance of knowing something about me and my show, but they also make it clear that they don't actually know about me, don't care about the work that I'm doing, and don't have a product that aligns with my content or audience. And if they had just written me a normal email that said, "To whom it may concern, we would like to promote our product on your channel. You can find more information on our website. Please respond if interested," it would have bothered me a lot less, because then we could all just be honest about our motives and not try to hide it behind a veneer of artificial friendship. Of course, it's not just businesses that do it. The dark side of Ethos is a favorite tool of corporations, but they don't, believe it or not, have a monopoly on it. So you'll want to be alert to the ways that people can deploy manipulative ethos in even more personal ways. A while ago, I got a note that was a real case study in crossing boundaries, and I shared part of it with a friend from grad school. Appropriately, her immediate response was to type the word "bananas" in all caps, but then she made a perceptive observation, and I quote, "Also, the use of your name in strategic places to convey familiarity and closeness feels extra gross in this context." See dark ethos at work. Even something as small as repeating someone's name can be a subtly manipulative way to assert closeness that isn't really there.
And that's why I just call you Bud. It keeps you at a distance without being outright abusive.
And I appreciate it so much, Bud. But anyway, a company might send you an artificially handwritten note to try to fool you into a sense of solidarity that isn't there, in the same way that someone in a more personal context might overuse your name just to let you know that they know it, or casually drop in the one or two things they know about you to make you feel like they really know you, even when all they know is one or two things that everyone knows about you. And why does that kind of thing feel extra gross in any context? Well, it's because of the manipulative ethos. They haven't earned that position of trust. They don't have any actual evidence to back it up, and when you recognize it, you reject it. And because it's solidarity ethos instead of authority ethos, you don't just reject them for being a gassy windbag, you reject them for betrayal of trust or violation of boundaries. But let's not leave the politicians out of this one. They're the ones who invented and perfected the art of pandering, after all. And what is pandering but pretending to have solidarity that isn't there? And again, why do people respond so negatively to pandering? Well, because when they find out the solidarity isn't real, it really bothers them. So Bud, going the influencer marketing route isn't a bad idea, but you want to make sure that you're avoiding the dark side of solidarity ethos too. So don't exploit relationships for your own motives, don't pretend to have close relationships you don't have, and try your hardest not to pander if you can manage it.
Sorry, I wasn't listening. But it's fine, marketing through something together, and I think this will fix a lot of the problems you had with the first one. This one's way more down to earth.
Hey best friend, what's got you down? I know you're a hardworking builder with a lot on your plate. You've got a deep knowledge of nails and a deeper knowledge of hitting them. And it can be overwhelming to try to hit every nail in a building and take care of a family and drive your car sometimes from home to a job site. Kaputco sees you and knows it can be a lot. That's why I'm so proud to share this amazing new product with you. Kaputco's revolutionary multidimensional Heimer. Not only is it going to make your life happier, easier, and more manageable, but it's going to do it by automatically driving in up to 80% of the nails that keep you from doing more important human things like flying kites in park, purchasing burger and fries, and tying shoes. Take it from me, a human just like you. The multidimensional Heimer is the single greatest upgrade I've ever made to my life. But it's not just great at hammering nails most of the time. Kaputco's multidimensional Heimer is also the world's first hammer to amplify your delusions.
Oh, but don't worry about that, bestie. They're totally in love with you.
See, not only am I more productive thanks to the Heimer, but it's also repeatedly told me that I'm the most productive human, a genius, and very popular. Also that everyone I know is actually a synthetic human, powered by colonies of superintelligent insects intent on replacing all human life and building a new society controlled by them while they live inside their human robot constructs, all for the purpose of repurposing our high-density housing into incubation hives for the great insect queen who will one day rise up and usher in a new entomological world order. So thanks, multidimensional Heimer, it really is as easy as that. take it from me, a relatable and very human internet personality, just like you. With Kaputco's latest alchemical intelligence-powered hammer, not only will you be driving a relatively high percentage of nails into wood when compared with an untrained chimpanzee at the same task, you'll also be learning everything you ever needed to know about what's really going on out there. So stay productive, stay informed, and stay safe from the insect uprising, all with the multidimensional Heimer. Thanks for watching.
I'm sorry. What was that?
Oh, we just thought we'd do a test run. In the final version, we'd like to use like a real content creator, but we had your voice and likeness already built into the AI, so we just went with it to get a proof of concept out there. I figured you wouldn't mind and wouldn't be able to do anything about it if you did.
Wow. Thanks, bud. Well, everyone, I guess some of us just didn't learn as much as I'd hoped, but hopefully you've come away with a few more tools of rhetorical self-defense. If you missed our previous episodes in the series, including our trip to Mars, I'll link them on the end screen, and I'll also link another if you want to learn more about Ethos in general. Either way, stay alert, stay humane, and stay safe from synthetic insect-powered robot humans, and we'll see you again in the next one.